All right, YouTube, Stocks by the Numbers, welcome back. Another short-term trade idea here. I'm trying to make a video, as quickly as I can. But earlier in the morning here, we were looking at Draftkings, and right out at the open, it chunked up. It started to run up. It was up about 4.5%. As you see, we hit this rising wedge apex here at these new highs of 26.87. That's where I called out the put in the Discord. Now, obviously, it only pulled back to about 26.40 there immediately after I made the call out. So if you did have the money to buy like this week or next week, 26.5 puts, if you wanted to roll the dice like that, then obviously you would have immediately been up in profits, and you could have even taken the money and run. However, of course, the NASDAQ began to bounce and absolutely rally, and they brought the stock back up to 26.86, but you can see it retested that high, multiple times there. And since then has basically since rejected, and you can see it pulled back below the 20-day simple moving average, tried to get above it, rejected again, retraced, tried to get above it, rejected again, and then just chunked down roughly 30 cents in the last 10-12 minutes. So in my opinion, I do believe DraftKings will continue to pull back. Even if we come down here and fill this gap, as you can see, you're looking at 26, or potentially this high right here before the close. You're looking at 25 3/4. So again, overall, it's not going to be a crazy move. However, could be a very nice short-term little trade for you if you do want to step in. Again, DraftKings, DKNG on the NASDAQ, 26.41, up 3/4 of a point, 2.9% here on the day. Just hit new highs of 26.87 earlier in the morning. And again, I understand a breakout could be happening here, because if we pull it back here, first of all, wait, hold on, where am I? Right, if we back up the 1-year chart, I drew this trend line out a while ago, and this was at looks like about 26.40 to 26.5, and we saw that there was a lot of action taking place at that level, and it broke down that level and basically made a big curl all the way back up to that level, and then it was consolidating downward, right? So you draw that trend line. See if I can zoom in for you. There you go. So you draw that trend line right across the top of the resistances there, and then what happened was, as it climbed and broke above those resistances, we knew that DraftKings was going to climb higher, right? So the stock climbs up, retests the fib, and then pops and breaks out to new highs. The problem is, in my opinion, probably a little too high, right? Because I understand that, as we see here in the last couple of quarters, revenue has jumped up from this 500 million mark to a high of, as we see here, 855 million in the quarter, somehow still lost 28%, and then we move over here, 769 million, of course, lost about half of that. So again, this was the problem that I mentioned with DraftKings all the way back in the day. So of course, I can appreciate the fact that revenue has since been growing since the last time we looked at it, so I can understand that you want to increase share price. Totally understandable. However, the company, again, is still bleeding like an open valve here. And revenue coming in last year, $2.25 billion. Market cap right now, about $12.2 billion, right? So we have a company that is hemorrhaging cash still, even though they're seeing a consistent, well, not really consistent, but even though they're seeing increases in revenue, and now they're trading roughly 6 times annual revenue, and they're losing money. They're not even profitable. Now, of course, you come down here, everyone is overhyped on it, right? Technically, looking at the numbers here at 26.5, the stock is overvalued, but somehow the average price target is $28. Again, remember, these analysts will always come out and overinflate these younger, newer, especially tech companies, because they know that you, the excuse me for saying, the average, smaller, uneducated, uninformed investor is just going to blindly buy it just because it's DraftKings, and you may also bet on basketball once or twice a week or whatever the hell. So you might be more comfortable with it. However, at the end of the day, again, in my opinion, I think it is tremendously overvalued. And even if it pulls back here again, let's just say to this fib, and it stays above this breakout trend line, we pull back to this fib, we're looking at 25.60. Right? So again, not going to be a huge drop. Of course, it could completely break back down into the low 20s, in my opinion, where it should be. However, again, just in the short term here, even pulling back to this this fib here of 25.60, or potentially retesting this trend line, I think it would be justified. And of course, if you were able to get in earlier today at the highs, or even right now as you're seeing the video, chances are, in my opinion, you will most likely be successful. Of course, if you are a little skittish and hesitant about the position, then I would advise you to buy as much time as possible. I always say time is greater than strike price. Time always trumps strike price, because you might think going $1 or $2 further out of the money might be too extreme, right? And then you're like, well, it has to drop X percent. Is it really going to hit that strike price here that I just picked up? And the answer, believe it or not, is, first of all, of course, anything can happen. But second of all, the more time you have on the contract, again, even if it starts to trend in the right direction, when it has that one drop, boom, that big breakdown day, your option's still going to be moving, and you're probably going to be profitable. Because even though you are further out of the money, you're still going to have X amount of time left on the contract. So that's why when it comes to options, time is key. However, again, I know they recently broke it out, but in my opinion, I think Draftkings is probably going to pull back here. I still have Starbucks up here. Let's switch over to Draftkings. We're looking at the weekly. I mean, look at this thing, just completely riding the top Bollinger Band, right? RSI on the weekly sitting at 68, approaching that 70 level. So, again, in my opinion, MACD rising there. Looked like it was about to cross and touch right there, and then just had a little pop here today. So that's why the RSI looks, in my opinion, like it's about to cap out, and I feel that it is going to reject and begin to sell off pretty soon. Switching over here on the weekly, I mean, just look at this absolute craze here, this absolute rally here. We're going back to, where are we? January, right? So basically when the bull dropped. So since the bull dropped, the stock has more than doubled. You're looking at about 130% return on a company that is still losing money. And again, I appreciate the fact that the revenue has since been increasing. However, it has been running like an absolute freaking animal. In my eyes, I feel it is overvalued. Now we have the tightening here of the Bollinger Bands, and that's why I feel also after this run with the high RSIs, I do think that it is going to pull back. Obviously, I know it does look like the MACD is about to curl and cross here on the daily. However, again, in my opinion, it does seem like it's rejecting those highs. The RSI, again, has been climbing. The stock has been on an absolute tear for at least 6 months straight. So what goes up must come down. That's what we say, right? So even a pullback, again, you got the mid Bollinger Band here at 25.29, right? So that's a clean $1 drop. Bottom Bollinger Band drops down to about 24.25. So that would be what, like an 8-9% drop? Real quick, that would work out well for your puts if you are positioned. And of course, getting back to that 50-day moving average, potentially 23.88. Obviously, that'll make everybody money. Now, again, for the record, of course, this is slightly a speculative play because, of course, we're talking about a short-term reversal, even though it has been chunking down and rejected. But, of course, more importantly, this is a tech stock and, of course, a younger tech company that the young kids know and like to play and trade and invest in. So, of course, tomorrow, I mean, the stock could pop up to 27.5 before it reverses and drops back down. Absolutely. But, again, overall, looking at the big picture, in my opinion, this should easily drop back a couple of points here. And if you want to step in puts here in the short term, again, up to you, entirely your own prerogative. But in my opinion, I think you can make a couple of quick bucks here. But just wanted to make a quick video because I called it out in the Discord. Again, Discord is in the description of every video, personal Discord that I threw up. So if you guys want to jump in, you want to catch some of these short-term trades, or you just want to join the community, have a little back and forth, or mention to everyone else maybe 1 or 2 symbols that you're looking at, that you prefer to buy, you like to trade, or working out well for you, or you think are gearing up for something big down the road, come into the Discord, let us know, join the conversation, join the community. But basically, I'm going to end it there. So, stocks by the numbers. Like the video, thumbs up, algorithm, share the video. Helps me get more eyes on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. I will give short-term trade ideas like Draftkings. Just did a video on Starbucks. I'll update you guys on the markets. And again, in the Discord, if you want some short-term trades or if you want me to post some charts or something, I'm usually always available for you guys, even early in the morning or even late at night. But again, push the subscribe button. That is our handshake agreement. I have no problem looking at all of these companies and checking out anything you'd like me to check out, giving you my opinion, my slant on anything. All I ask, push the subscribe button. That is how you help me help you. That is our handshake agreement. If you're watching the content, that's all I ask. Subscribe to the channel. But overall, moving forward, like I do always say, I understand that markets are rocky. and they're volatile, and they are uncertain. So I do want to wish everyone success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Stay sharp, stay focused, stay positive. Catch you.